Levi, are we waiting for anything? Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunshine House AGM. My name is Kim Bailey, and I am on the board of Sunshine House. I am sitting in for our chair today, so I'm going to be filling his big shoes. So before we get started, I just wanted to let folks know that Lark Consulting is here. Yeah, and they have been contracted by Sunshine House for the MOPS project. They're doing an evaluation of the project. And as part of the funding requirements for SUOP, it's important to conduct a good evaluation. So they have a table at the back with some questions and I think some markers and stuff like that, surveys. And if you want to talk about the importance of MOPS to you, I would recommend that you go take a moment to maybe at the end to just check in with that. So welcome to you and thank you for that work. Anyway, moving right along. So I'd like to invite Elder George Spence, if he's here, where is he? To just start us in a good way with a prayer and a smudge.
Most kids are ever climbed up. Bonjour again. And I was offered tobacco to come and open up this meeting we're having here. And I have to come and do a prayer. But I'm going to do a prayer song. To me, the prayer songs are more stronger. So that's why I use my drum in these prayer songs. Excuse me, I'm still getting the stuff out of my teeth here. The bologna sandwich. And don't mind my voice. I haven't been singing too good lately because of my sickness. And my voice is out of shape. But this song means Creator is going to watch over me, you, and all of us.
Thank you so much. Next on our agenda tonight is, I guess I have to call us to order. As if we did anything orderly ever around here, but anyway, but that's what I'm doing, so that's what's going on. So I'm gonna start next with, or go next with the land acknowledgement, the Sunshine House land acknowledgement. So Sunshine House leadership, staff, and community members recognize that land acknowledgements can be part of the truth-seeking and reconciliation process. Therefore, we acknowledge that our programming is situated on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Dakota, and Oji-Cree peoples, as well as the homeland of the Red River Métis Nation. Our water is sourced from Shoal Lake First Nations, and many of us as guests have benefited from the dispossession of peoples and the extraction of resources from those Indigenous peoples. We are obligated to continue to work towards reconciliation with those nations. Last night, members of our community were given messages from the Harris and Myrain families that land acknowledgements are truly hollow exercises while the remains of loved ones and kin remained in the landfill. We must do what we can to ensure the safe arrival of the sacred remains and spiritual beings to their families and nations. This includes dedicating resources and time to those most impacted and holding political leaders accountable for their inaction. Sunshine House, as an organization, will continue to support and work with Indigenous communities and people to provide safety and space from the ongoing and continued colonization of Indigenous people and land, and we are committed to ensuring that our programs are designed by and for Indigenous people. We have a lot of work to do in the spirit of truth and reconciliation, and we'll continue to learn from the peoples most adversely affected by imposed economic poverty, racism, and continued dispossession of their territories, Miigwech. Before we go on, I'd like to just take a minute of silence in remembrance to the folks who are missing and murdered in our community. Okay, thank you. Now we can move on, I guess, to the more formal parts of the meeting today. So the first part is the approval of the agenda. So board members, wherever y'all are here, I guess I'm looking for a show of hands to approve today's agenda. Sorry, I'm like the second banana here, so like I'm getting the best. All right, I need a mover and then a seconder for, okay. And thank you, Christy, for taking your minutes today. And is there somebody who can second it? Thank you. And all in favor? Awesome, thank you so much. The second thing that we have to do is approve the minutes from the 2022 AGM. Do I have somebody who can move that? Same. Okay, and all in favor? Awesome, thank you. Okay, so now for the fun part, we get to hear from the amazing people who work at Sunshine House. to give us an update on the activity and program reports. And we're going to start with Crowheart talking about Like That.
Boo.
Hi there, my name is Crowheart. I'm the drop-in assistant in Sunshine House. I'll be reading the report for Like That. Like That. Like That is an integral piece for our queer community. It is a safe space to come and hang out, make new friends, eat and laugh, and go a little bit nature driven. The Like That program is the same in a way as the afternoon drop-in, but it's more queer and more vibrant. We do activities that the folks who utilize the space want to do. Some big things we have done are jewelry making, karaoke, movies, and games. Like That has seen a lot of new faces this year. With word of our space getting up there again, with keeping in touch with the community via our Instagram and Facebook pages. Word is also spread about the 2S Trans ID peer support program and working with Like That participants in their seasonal career bingo fundraisers, which are the friendships and sense of community we come to cultivate here. The start of every Like That isn't as busy as the afternoon drop-in. We begin with the smudge before opening up to a couple of people. We usually wait about 15 to 20 minutes for starting the activities as opposed to people who have just gotten off work, classes, or have to travel from further parts of the city. This makes more of an exciting entrance as each new arrival is greeted with cheers and umbrella participants that have come to hang out their evening.
Awesome. Thank you, Crow. Up next is Feather to talk about the drop-in.
I'll keep it on, please. Hi, everyone. I am Feather. I am the drop-in coordinator, which means I run the place while we're open, and I'm the mean auntie when I have to be. Oh, I'm really mean. So I also have come unprepared. I'm just going to read from the book. Sorry, this isn't a drop-in. What a year. Full of ups and downs like any drop-in resource place would have. But in the end, it was a great year. Every day we were open, we had community come in, and it's been busier than ever. Except no one showed up because it's too far away, I guess. When you are ready to open, we light a smudge and prepare. Every day there seems to be a line that only gets bigger, especially on warmer days. We see about 40 to 70 people on the first hour. Participants have access to warm food and a place to chill and chat. We have laundry facilities that are first come, first served, clothing closet for donated clothing and new underwear and socks, harm reduction, hygiene products, plus a place to shower and a place to rest. Whatever we get our hands on, we give out. We get regular donations of bread twice a week, food from Harvest Manitoba, plus the items brought from supporters all around the city. This helps us keep our community fridge in operation and helps us give out non-perishable food items. With the rise in numbers of participants, we tried our best to program fun activities on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Some favorites have been playing bingo and painting, coloring, and other visual arts. We also did more practical activities like food prep and baking. We also did activities that have cultural significance to most of our participants, such as beading and making dream catchers. Doing activities with folks has really developed relationships and been a wonderful experience. We would also like to acknowledge the passing of our friends and family we lost this year, Danielle Valentine, Jonah, Morgan Harris, Ray Trouton, Richard Henry, and Saitana. Thank you.
Thank you, Feather. Next up is Cowan from the Trans ID Clinic. Rowan, sorry, it looks like a K. Levi, that's your fault. Welcome, Rowan.
Maybe I changed my name to Calvin. We were told to do something fun and I didn't prepare anything either, so you're just gonna have to listen to me. Last year, we started offering help for trans and two-spirit folks to change their IDs, either their gender marker, their name, or both. We saw kind of a slew of clinics that were like popping up, but people needed more than just somebody to sign off on their paperwork because it's very expensive. And you need to have a lot of documentation just to do that, and a doctor and all of these things. So Renew helped during their practicum. They're standing in the back. Sorry if you're watching online. And we had kind of a rough start. Well, can't lie about that. Vital Stats was closed through lots of last year, so we couldn't actually go talk to anybody in person. We were just sending them off and hoping they were arriving, and they just sort of sat on all of the applications I sent in throughout last year without doing anything until this spring. So it's been a bit of a time, but the appreciation that we got from folks who've been able to get that done has been really, really enormous. As you can imagine, it goes a long way in keeping people safe to have ID that matches the name that you actually use and the gender that you truly are, even if you don't believe in like needing to be validated by the state. It really makes a big difference out in public and in people's daily lives. So hopefully we will keep doing that. And I have learned a whole lot in the last year. And yeah, things are going really well right now. So thanks.
Jude, I would like to welcome you up to talk about food security.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Business today. Hi, folks. I'm Jude. I'm the food security lead at Sunshine House. If you want to read about the brunch program specifically, there is the report in your notes that you can check out. It's been a wild year. It's been a crazy year. And the fun thing that I'm doing is going a little bit off topic, which is to say we go through a lot of food. The number of people that we are serving has functionally doubled in the last year. Last year when I wrote my brunch report, I was overwhelmed by 100 people coming in the door on a Sunday morning. 2 weeks ago, we made 233 brunch meals. We go through routinely 30 dozen eggs. We go through 15 kilograms of breakfast sausages or bacon when we have it. We go through more coffee than I can even keep track of. It is very difficult to keep an actual functional inventory in our kitchen. And what I think that says is that the need that people have in our community for food and for access to good food that is healthy and culturally relevant and tastes good and like it's not out of a can is really, really high right now. We're really grateful for the donations that we get through Second Harvest, through Leftovers Foundation, through Winnipeg Harvest as well. All of those things and the personal donations that we receive from people's gardens and just out of the goodness of their hearts goes a really, really long way. The scale to which we're trying to accommodate is outgrowing, I think, our capacity in a lot of ways. So we've been shifting and changing and trying new things and trying to keep it interesting, but I have to honestly say it's getting difficult. From what I understand, I'm consistently going over budget with the spending that we have to do for the food program. I was told I can spend $4,000 a month. roughly, but that doesn't account for the multiple trips I have to make per week to go buy more coffee cups or whitener or the things that I forget that we need. And it is just kind of bonkers. So when I leave here, I just want to impress upon the fact that in Feather's report, we were saying we see between 40 and 70 people in the first hour. Right now, we're seeing 60 people in the first 30 minutes. People need what we're offering them, and we need more funding and more support for that. So please don't take this community for granted. And if you have any ideas or any friends with deep pockets, tell them to buy us some fucking coffee. Thank you.
Thank you, Jude. Up next is Edith from Street Beat.
Yay!
Hi, I'm going to also read from my notes. Okay, so Street Feet, we usually work on Tuesdays from about 11 till 2:33, depending on how many walk-ins are still there. The Street Feed Clinic had 254 client visits at our once-a-week clinic during this period of time. Walter, the foot care nurse, continues to offer quality care. Wonderful Walter. Even though the clinic room is upstairs, services were instead provided on the main floor. This was due to mobility issues for some clients. Thanks to the drop-in staff for helping facilitate that and for the tasty meals provided after the guest has had a session. And on the main floor, you had so many people. Somebody asked me, where do you put them all? But they still were very helpful in helping us treat the foot care people. Clients were referred to us from WRHA Center, PACT, church groups, dialysis clinics, which are really hard to book because you never know how long their clinics are going to be. And they get handy transit to drop them off, so that can be a bit of a concern. WRHA and Selkirk Mental Health, Aboriginal Health and Wellness, Mount Carmel Clinic, including ACT. Drop-in clients and staff referred some of their friends and family. Busy helped referred clients to us. The KSIW Medical Boarding Home on Portage Avenue. Silo Mission, including the Madison Hotel, KMD Transitions, and Main Street Project, amongst others. In April 22, we received a generous $2,500 donation from St. Paul's High School Youth and Philanthropy Program towards a planned project in building a ramp to increase accessibility into our building. So much appreciated. They continue to be great friends and allies. In June 22, along with other foot care nurses, about 7 of them, we supplied foot care services at the expo at Silo Mission. People have come in barefoot, wearing sandals when it is minus 30 in the winter, with shoes that are 2 sizes too small, with toes needing amputation or amputated by nature already. And we refer them on. A great thank you to all those who donated or fundraised for shoes or socks. It can be a high point in someone's day to receive that basic item, which many of us take for granted. One time I was at Lowe's lumber area or hardware store, and I had been given money from St. Paul's. So I phoned them and they said, well, why are you buying them from us? We'll just give them to you because we give them to other big organizations. So I went there, I picked up the socks. I also bought some with some of the grant money. And when I was going through and they gave us a whole pile of socks. When I was going through the cash to pay with the grant money, the cashier said, wait a minute, she reached under the counter, she opened her purse, and she says, here, I'm gonna buy this $40 worth of socks. So people are very generous and it's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really, I have like a secret little contribution to that. Many years ago when I was at the WHA, I managed to snare the chair that that you, I think, probably still use from the WHA. It was sitting in some office somewhere, and I'm like, y'all aren't using that. Can we take it over to Sunshine House? And I think I hope that's what's still going on there. So nice to see it ongoing and continuing in such a good way. Next up is the Gija Wei Nimin project or program with Helena. Can you come up and share that with us?
Everyone is significantly taller than me. Hello, everybody. I'm the Gijwanamin coordinator. I've just been with Sunshine House for a little bit over a year, so I'm still learning in my role, but I'm very excited to be here. And it is one of the most fantastic jobs I've ever had in my life. So without further ado, the Gijwanamin program at Sunshine House began in 2019 as a response to incidents of asylum seekers walking to the US-Canada border seeking safety. Its purpose is to support 2S LGBTQIA refugee claimants and newcomers, helping them navigate systems and connect with the queer community in Winnipeg. We have written letters of support for 2 refugees as we continue to stand with them through their filing process, developing safety plans for deportation, providing groceries, check-ins, and safe spaces for connection. In Anishinaabe-Moan, Gijwanamin means to convey that we see you, we hear you, and we love you. Support has often taken the form of facilitating applications for ID, healthcare, housing, mental, and spiritual supports for program participants. This department coordinates housing referrals, supporting people through evictions, providing emergency hotel stays for queer participants who are often at a higher risk of facing violence in traditional shelters, as well as transporting participants' possessions during moves, attending housing viewings, and writing letters of support on behalf of tenants. We have seen an uptick of international requests for support as anti-gay and anti-trans legislation continued to be introduced and passed in many countries across the world, with individuals currently receiving support from our program coming from 4 different countries. As immigration cases were paused during COVID-19 are once again being processed, we anticipate that the program is heading into a busier period, and thus we are going to continue to host culturally relevant nights like our Eid celebration to extend to our resources, to our participants, and celebrate the end of Ramadan. Some of the metrics that I think are really fun to highlight is that we got 2 prayer mats this year. So that also inspired other clinics across the city to get prayer mats for their spiritual spaces. We had more than 4 vaccine clinics. We had 7 aftercare packages given to people for reactive STBBI tests. We had 8+ shelter diversions. We had 10+ testing clinics. That also was 13+ people vaccinated for Mpox, including 41 people tested and screened for STBBIs, as well as 50 pregnancy tests given out, and 310 rapid HIV tests provided to community, and $16,000 fundraised through t-shirt sales. Thank you so much.
Amazing, thank you. Next up, last but not least, is Davy Cole from MOPS.
Hello, I'm Davy. So I am just gonna vibe off this report and see where we go. I feel like I've been talking about MOPS constantly every day to everyone for this entire year. And then when I went to go write this report, I was like, how do I do this? So I put in this year into, it was supposed to be a 1-pager, but as you see, I failed. Okay, so also shorter. So in 2022, in the spring, we got the opportunity to operate a mobile overdose prevention site. As probably a lot of you know, that took some time to actually put into service delivery. We thought we didn't need an exemption, but then Health Canada came back and then turns out we did. There's a lot of political fun stories in that, and I'm sure if you Google us, you can hear about all of it on the news, or just come talk to us later over a drink. So basically, we finally got our exemption from Health Canada under the urgent public needs to address the drug toxicity, the overdose crisis, and we worked really hard on that. And I just want to acknowledge the effort and the heart that went into that. Specifically from key members on the team. Specifically, I just want to acknowledge Levi. There's a lot that went into that, and there was a lot of hard pain in those few months that we experienced. And so when we got it, we literally cried. We were very excited, and we literally went to service the next day. We were ready. We had trained our staff. Val and I had gone to Vancouver to gain knowledge from folks running overdose prevention sites out there. We bought an RV. The reason we bought an RV was it came out of the peer advisory committee and a lot of work that Margaret had done, a lot of work that research had come from of what folks wanted a safer consumption site or an overdose prevention site to look like. And the original idea was a pirate ship. So we got an RV. It was the best we could do. And what that came from was creating a cozy, homey vibe where folks could feel safe, because the only way to prevent an overdose is supervision, and prevention comes from creating a warm, safe space. So that was a big part of it, and so we got this RV from this funny guy out in Steinbach. Rowan and Levi and I did a lot of work with that. That was really fun and very exciting. And so when we got to do a service delivery, we went out and I was driving the RV and we're like, okay, here we go. And we left Sunshine House and we were all excited, and I hit a sign on the way out. And Levi saw and just waved and was like, all right, here we go. And so from that, it was fine. I don't think I even told Rowan that. So there you go. Rowan's our maintenance person also. Give it up for Rowan. I have to take care of an RV in winter. Here we go. And so from that, it kind of set us off to a fun year of figuring out how to deliver a new service in the city out of RV that was not necessarily set up for winter. And so winter was interesting, but what we soon learned was what we already knew, is that this service is essential and necessary to our city, and people were ready for it. The community was ready for it. So folks that came to the site, they were like, oh, this is how they have in Vancouver, that kind of stuff. And so we slowly, first in November, we were like, oh, this is very exciting. We have 5 people using in our tent today, and we had 30 people show up, and that's so exciting. On Saturday, we served 220 people, and there was 60 people using safely in the tent and the RV. So shout out to Allie, who was working that shift in the rain. So the folks who are doing this work are doing really, really big work. And so that's something to be acknowledged and honored. Okay, so I'm supposed to be doing a narrative of what happened in the year, so sorry. Okay, another big thing that happened this year was on the RV, a big part of what we do is drug testing. And so we were able to, through crowdfunding and through the incredible community who was like, yes, let's get this out there. We got an FTIR spectrometer. And what the hell is that? It is a drug testing machine that tests drugs with a laser. And so it has incredible accuracy, and you don't lose your sample. And we went through a lot of different drug machines with the peer committee, and we sat there with scientists, and the peers asked all these questions. And the big thing was, we don't want to lose our sample. We want it to be easy. We want it to be able to do it in front of us, and it has to be mobile. So we got it, and it's been working, and it's great, and it's really exciting to see how folks interact with drug use when you actually get to see what you are using. And so today even we had some regulars come by and they're like, oh, we have this, let's test it. And it was plaster. So, folks, and they were like, oh, wow, thank God you guys are here, and we did it. And so it's been a bit, since we launched it, it's been interesting to see how people are engaging with it, but I think we're coming to a point where people know we're here, they want to test their drugs before they use, and that's really, really exciting to have in our city. That's changing the way we're addressing the drug toxicity crisis, so that's really cool. What else do we do? Another really cool part of our program is the way that we hire peers. And so one of the big things was we always wanted our work to be peer-led, community-led. And so that's how we hired our staff. There's like folks have life experience or are people who use drugs or all that. That's important to the work we do, and have those folks have the expertise on what we're doing. So we also hired folks who would come to the RV and be like, oh, I know what this is, or oh, I heard this was happening in the community, or do you need help putting up that tent, or I know how to doctor someone. So once we started developing relationships with those folks, we hired them. And it's been going really well. The peer program folks can work whenever they can. They're not scheduled, but every single one of our regulars shows up every day and wants to work. And so we've had like really great success with that program. And in July, we were able to hire a peer support coordinator, which has been really great. So this person can help the folks get ID, can help them with housing, can help them with ways that like can set them up for just to engage in the world in a better way, in whatever way they want to. So that's been going really well. So yeah, there's a lot of good things coming out of the RV. I think I went off tangent a couple times. But I also just want to acknowledge folks that have been like helping us. So MHRN is a big person we've worked with, Maximum Harm Reduction, with the peers, the drug testing, and just shout out to Johnny Mexico, who's the coolest person ever and someone I talk to on the daily to help with this work. I also want to shout out Main Street Project, who lets us use their bathroom every day, and who also gives us the parking space. So one thing that come out of MOPS is just like not only community members, but also community orgs who have just been like, this is the work we're all doing, and this is the work that like you guys are doing, and we acknowledge that it's the work that we're all in this together. So I really appreciate that, and I thank all the people. I also want to thank Go Ask Auntie, who comes to our site on Fridays, and it's so fun, and the community loves them so much. Yeah, I think I'm going to end it there. Come talk to me or anyone else if you want to hear more stories. But it's been an incredible joy to serve a community like this, and thank you for all your support. Bye.
Thank you to all the staff at and the folks that are connected to Nine Circles. That's where I work. Fuck, Sunshine House. And I just would like to do another like acknowledgement of the leadership of Levi Foy and just what an amazing leader he is to this incredible group of people. So thank you all for the amazing work you do at Sunshine House. What I see is a lot of courage and love and kindness and beauty, and that's a really wonderful thing to see in these sometimes dark days. All right. Next up is a presentation and approval of the financial report. Angeline.
All right. Okay. So now to the fun part of the financials. I'm sure everyone had a chance to read this through very thoroughly and understands everything. Okay, I know it's confusing. Okay, so we just have to do this, as part of the AGM. So I just want to go over some things. Thank you, Carrie, for helping me with some of the notes for the presentation on the financials. So basically I'll try to be quick. The auditors, they were able to look at all of our financial statements, provide an opinion on how they present, and basically said that they present fairly. And so they didn't see anything that was, that would sound an alarm, like so that's good, I guess, for an audit report. And then when we go to the statement of financial position, so if you just look on there, if you're wondering what the cash piece is, it just represents like the money in our lotteries account that we have, our accounts receivable, just like money that is owed from funders or retailers or GST receivable. Prepaid expenses, like things like monthly insurance prepaid or premiums that were paid, in the previous fiscal for the next fiscal, and so forth. Our fixed assets, they represent, things like our building, vehicle, furniture and equipment and such. Our current liabilities, those are 1 week of employee wages, including any flex time owing at the year end. Also includes utilities, drop-in supplies, etc. All right. Government remittance is just the employee deductions that we have to pay to Canada Revenue Agency, our deferred revenue. So that's just like when our funders, the monies from our funders are carried over. And so that's for a couple of the programs. Yeah, I don't know what else. I don't know. Does anyone have any questions? Well, anyways, this is basically the financial report. These are some of the statements that we had provided to the auditor. The auditor had the opportunity to review, as I said, our financial practices. They presented fairly. I had they only made like really minor recommendations to us about our financial procedures. For instance, like me just reviewing the bank statements and signing off on them monthly. But otherwise, there was really no concern. So that's the gist, I guess. So I don't know if there's no questions. I guess do we move? Okay, that's it.
All right. I'll be really good at this next year. Maybe. I don't know. Can I ask if somebody could move to approve the financial statements? All right, and a seconder. Okay, all in favor? And also a big shout out to Carrie. Thank you for all you do. Amazing. What would we do without you? Coming to the end. I need another motion to retain Scarrow and Donald to be the auditor of 2023-24. Can I have a mover? You're just like rocking and rolling here today, Jalen. Seconded? All right. Okay, all in favor? Awesome. Great. Okay. Okay, I have the honor and privilege of introducing some of our new board members. Really excited about that. There's 3 of them. I'm going to give 3 quick bios of who they are, and then I have to do the same thing: motion, second, all in favor, and blah, blah, blah. But let's start with the fun stuff. Anyone can? Okay. All right. All right. Gail Pruden sits. They are here, and I'm super excited to see her on the board. Sits with the Black Bear clan. She is a Kukum and Jingle dance dress dancer from the Little Saskatchewan First Nation, located on Treaty 2 territory in Manitoba. Gail is fluent in Anishinaabe-Win and I'm clearly not, and is the oldest of 5 siblings. Gail is a two-spirit trans woman who has danced more than 15 years. She says the gift of dance enriched her life with knowledge about the old ways of doing ceremony. She's been active in Sunshine House community, especially through her guidance of the two-spirit powwow. Welcome, Gail. The other 2 folks that are coming onto the board, I believe, are not here this evening, but I'm going to tell you about them anyway. So Tamara Dion Stout is a member of the Kihiwin Cree Nation in Alberta. She has an undergraduate degree in geography from Carleton University in Ottawa. It's my alma mater. and a master's degree in Indigenous governance from the University of Winnipeg. Previously, she has worked with Environment Canada on the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity and has been a consultant with the Prairie Women's Health Centre of Excellence and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada. Welcome to her, to Tamara. Last but not least is Yathnau, is a Skidgate Haida queer transgender woman who is currently situated on Treaty 1 territory. She is the lead consultant for the Taju Consulting, which provides an anti-oppression, Indigenous, and 2S LGBTQIA+ consulting services. She holds a BA in Indigenous Studies Psychology and an MA in Indigenous Studies, as well as 5 years experience in a post-secondary environment revolving around embedding Indigenous, anti-oppression, and 2S LGBTQIA+ knowledges with institutional structures, policies, and curricula via advanced action plans and analysis. Like, whoa. Anyway, welcome to all three of you to the board. Super excited. I believe I have to have a motion to accept this slate. Who wants to move that? Davey? Oh, seconded by Angeline. All in favor? Awesome. Okay, welcome. Woo. And then there's all of us returning members. So thank y'all. That would be me. And all those other people who've been putting their hands up and down for the most of the evening. So with that, I'd like to move to adjourn the meeting. So, yeah, of course. Sorry.
We didn't put that on the agenda, but we ended up doing it last year too.
All right. So are there any questions, comments, suggestions?
Beautiful.
This is your time. Oh, yay. Hey, Gail.
2 years.
2-year term. It's forever, really, though, Gail. Just saying. It's fun, though. Any other comments? Okay, so if there isn't, with that, I'll move to adjourn the meeting. I'm going to move that. And who wants to second that? All right. Hey, Gail, all in favor? Yay, we're done. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight.